guys, Rob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe, with another edition of my Italy's Holocaust, taking a look at the films, even in their brief, from 1979 to 1994, mostly those covered in Jim Harper's reference guide for Italian horror, beginning with the likes of Fulci, ending with the likes of Soavi. And it's really too bad, I think it was Jason and I were talking about this the other day, it's really too bad that Italian TV had a kick in when it did, because I think Michele Soavi was signaling a rebirth of at least a new, as small as it might have been, phase of Italian horror. And unfortunately, TV came in and took over, and most of these guys that we grew up with and loved went on just to work in TV. But anyway, so for number 17, Dario Argento's phenomena, or as we would have rented it back in the day on VHS tape, Creepers. The Creepers cut, as I'll call it. I can't remember the last time I even saw that cut, but this is the 116-minute cut by Arrow. It's not as good as the synopsis, so Jason was telling me there are 3 cuts on that release. And so I don't even know if that's still up for sale, but if it is, and you don't have Phenomena, or you're looking to upgrade, say you're still riding Anchor Bay's DVD, and you just want to upgrade, definitely look at the synopsis, man, and see if you can't still get that that one that has the 3 cuts of the film. The Creepers cut, there's another one, and then the long Italian cut. And then, of course, look at this, man. One of the great covers for Fangoria of recent. Got a lot of good stuff on there, man. Interviews with Argento, Cozy, Stavaletti, Simonati. Just good stuff, man. Blood bugs and black leather gloves, man. And that's what you get in this movie, man. As a kid, well, look, everything has its critics. He just goes way off. Too much criticism on this movie. And I think, so we forget that some of us who were 10 years old in 1980 welcomed the rise of the video industry and going into stores and renting VHS tapes, going to the cinema, going to the drive-in. I just reviewed Hobo with a Shotgun for BodyBags, that Grindhouse era in the 70s. Now, I wasn't like there soaking up Grindhouse. I was too young as a kid, but I was in the back of my Chevy van trying to be forced to go to sleep when my parents were watching Grindhouse cinema. And I did, sneak some peeks, of course, we always do, right? But 1985, man, when this thing first arrived on video, I was just starting to discover Italian cinema, and I was bringing home on VHS the likes of Suspira and I want to say probably Zombie. I'm kind of going off track a little bit, but I Spit on Your Grave, Cannibal Holocaust. I mean, I was discovering other types of films, right? And this new Italian cinema. And one of the things that Dario does get criticized for on this film and opera is his use of heavy metal. On this one, I think we have some Iron Maiden. I think we have some Motorhead. You've got Goblin. And there are times, man, I wish, I prefer the Goblin score would have been there instead of the music. But there are other times it works great. I think it works better in opera. I think it works perfect in opera for what it is. And here, with its fantastical, are sort of walking, when Jennifer Corvino is her character name. This is Jennifer Connelly. Of course, we got Donald Pleasence in this as Professor John McGregor. He's an entomologist. Of course, you got Daria Nicolodi. I'm sorry if I said it wrong. As Frau Brückner. Of course, you've got the killer on a loose, man, with the black gloves, man. You've got Inspector Geiger, Patrick Bauchau, that's how you say it. It's just great. You got Dario Argento's young daughter opening up the scene for us. And this is where I absolutely love this movie. It's got one of the great openings and one of the great closings. And this is what, Dario did this great, a lot of these Italian directors knew how to open and they knew how to close. And man, this opens, man, you're on the what is it, Swiss Alps, man, and just the scenery is absolutely gorgeous. This poor girl gets, which is Dario's daughter, gets left behind on a tourist excursion or something. And the bus is leaving, going down the windy road, man. You could just feel that cold wind coming off the mountains. it's just, man, everything just comes off the screen, man. She's desperate to seek help. She goes, she walks down one of these side roads to where this house, man. And unfortunately, she walks into a situation where it will be her end. The killer, who, the black-gloved killer, who is running amok, just killing anything and everything. Try not to give any spoilers. Lord forbid, you've never seen Phenomena. But her demise is quite memorable, man. She will be attacked in the house. She'll make her way out of the house. She'll go up this, where the terrorists probably were, up this little ravine or this pathway along the river. There's waterfalls, and she will be cornered, and she will be stabbed, and then her head sort of goes back into the glass. And when it does, it's one of those moments as a kid, man, that just got burned into your mind, man. She just kind of goes back, and that glass just kind of falls in such a slow photographed way. I probably slowed the time down on that. But man, and then off her head, man. And then you're having a discussion with Michele Soavi. I think it's probably Inspector Geiger, with Donald Pleasence, who plays the entomologist, who is helping the police try to track down this killer via ascertaining information from the use of insects. Here, the gray sarcophagus fly that really feasts on human flesh, decaying human flesh. And so this great conversation, about trying to track down or figure out when this poor girl, who's got the head in a case, trying to figure out when this poor girl probably was, got killed, matching it up with missing people. And it just goes on. And then you got Jennifer's story. She comes into this all-girls school. She gets caught up into this, and because she sleepwalks, and somehow she's just tied in, and her and the killer's path will somewhat cross in a weird way. And her pathway and the killer's pathway will eventually just cross into just one of the great closings of these Italian movies. I don't really want to get into it. I'll just mention this, man. Poor Jennifer ends up falling into this pool of decomposing bodies, and I was watching it last night, I revisited it last night, and just knowing how nasty this pool was in real, and she had to fall into it. She goes underwater. She swallowed some of this stuff. And, albeit it's not real bodies and everything, but they just threw crap in there to make it look sick. And it couldn't have been good, man. It could not have been good. And then, of course, you got the role of McGregor's chimpanzee, who's there of help to him. He will play an important role. If you see him back there, he'll play an important role. He sort of takes care of the good professor. And he'll have a role to play at the end. But in terms of just the score, the practicals, even the use of the heavy metal at times, although there's at least once or twice where it's not as perfectly, or you kind of wish maybe there would have been a goblin score there instead. This is one of those movies, man, that this was the segue into Italian cinema for me as a kid, man. I rented this on VHS from the store probably multiple weekends out of a month, man. There was a few titles that would always seem to find their way into my stack of movies for the weekend, right? Some of you remember these days, man, right? And so it was just opening up a whole new world that I just was not used to, man, because we grew up in the world of, Jason and Freddy, and of course Halloween, and you had your Texas, Part 2, Phantasms. I mean, this is the American franchise that is opening up across the 80s here in America. But in Italy, man, you had Dario Argento, Lucio Fulci, you had Lamberto Bava, you had Demons 2. I mean, all these movies that were saturating most of us, thankfully, our video stores. And we were getting something that was just so mind-bendingly different, man, in terms of texture, aesthetics, just how these directors were seeing the world through their lens. The great Giallos, the great supernatural films, Fulci's, man, zombie, I mean, it just, on and on and on and on. I could just tell you how much, on and on, how much I love this movie. It is a great it was a great segue into, or gateway into my love of Italian cinema. And of course, The Arrow, I think I mentioned it. If I didn't, Synopsis has a great release out. I hope it's still in print. I hope it's still out there if you look for it on Amazon or Amazon UK. With 3 cuts. I only got the 116. And this one's probably, I'm not sure how long this one is. 110-minute cut of the film. So this probably could be the Creepers cut for all I know. But anyways, Dario Argento, man, another film from his filmography, one that specifically had an impact on me, and gotta love Donna Pleasence's, man. Unfortunately, some characters come to some ends, and you kind of wish they would have just had more. The use of the practicals, I'll just say this. There's a scene, not once but twice, where in order to create an effect of flies, I think it's flies or bees at another point, they dropped coffee grounds into a fish tank, captured on a film, and just overlaid it against the original. I guess that's how you do it. And it just looks so sticking awesome, man. But like I said, I revisited this last night. Oh, one last thing. A little trivia I came across. I almost totally forgot. Boy, how do I do this without spoiling it? Let me just say this to intrigue you, and if you want to look into it, you can look into it. There is a character in Phenomena who also plays an intriguing part in, of all things, The Passion of the Christ by Mel Gibson. When I stumbled on that little trivia, it just cracked me up to no end. I just put the two together. I just thought, that's interesting. But this, as well, a lot of the characters, I just don't want to give away. I don't want to give it away if you've never seen it by chance. And maybe you already know what I'm talking about. But anyways, I'll just end it there and try to think about what I might dig out of my collection for the next one. If you haven't seen it, I got something new called Crazy Fives, where I'll just pull 5 films off, a certain theme. The first one I did, I think, was The Craziest 5. The next one is either going to be the angriest or angry 5 filmmakers that just were extremely angry when they made their movies. Or, I don't know, I'm looking at maybe classic endings, crazy endings. Anyways, so keep an eye on that. Body bags, of course, anything and everything else. Appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Always end these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not